All right. So, can you go ahead and tell us your story? What was the journey that you took from when you were a student to where you are now? Maybe what kind of student were you in high school and college, and what did you love or find challenging?
Yeah, no, so I guess just quickly, I mean, I was always good at math and science, and from high school went into an engineering degree at Penn State, industrial engineering, which was probably the least technical of all the engineering disciplines. But what I liked about that degree was it seemed like a role that had to be a focal point for other engineering disciplines, because typically that role did a lot of project management work or things where you would be leading projects, and a lot of problem solving. So from there, through some classmate of mine who actually had an internship at Merck Pharmaceuticals, she recommended me to her boss to replace her as a co-op student in the summer and doing IT support. And to be quite honest with you, I didn't have a lot of direct IT experience, and really didn't understand what they were looking for in terms of providing technical support. And one of the things I learned about that opportunity was, one is, being able to work with others, obviously is what allowed me to be recommended, and two, the fact that I think I was just very honest with what skills I had and the skills that I did possess in terms of problem solving and being able to have basically good learning agility, which is what, when I spoke with the hiring manager at the time at Merck, said that he wanted someone that was that could speak well, that was inquisitive and could generally want to help people, and he understood that it would take me a couple of months to probably get comfortable in the role. And so I decided to try it. And I guess that's part of the lesson for me, was really to be ready to take an opportunity, even if it made you a little nervous, or maybe if you didn't think you were prepared. But from there, I think what I wrote to you guys earlier was that was a very formative experience, because one, it introduced me to the pharmaceutical industry at the time, where I felt it was a larger purpose involved in regards to finding medicine for patients and for sick folks and people. And I really enjoyed that, and I also got a chance to work with very, very smart people in the labs, folks that had PhDs from all, fantastic universities, and I was helping them to solve their, computer problems. And so it sort of led me down the path of wanting to stay in this industry, work for a greater cause, which was really pursuit of innovative medicines. And that really led me to sort of take opportunities as, quite honestly, some really nice supportive mentors in my career to date, really sort of help open up doors. And but they were very clear that at the end of the day, it was for me to decide whether or not to walk through that door or take that opportunity. But they definitely gave me the opportunities to sort of say, one mentor told me, if the job doesn't scare you or the opportunity doesn't scare you, then you probably shouldn't take it. So that's sort of what led me to the various different roles. I've had IT roles, I've had roles in clinical development, I've had roles in data management and site management, technical roles, non-technical roles, and now my current role, which is more of a technical role, leading a lot of programmers, but I mean, I've really just enjoyed just being flexible and looking forward to, opportunities as they present themselves, but staying within this industry.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. And it looks like your day there is so much going on, and a lot of unexpected issues and topics every day. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Sure. I mean, I think for me, but quite honestly, I mean, even in the early days of my careers, a lot of it is around, problems are going to come up, and technical issues are always going to come up. But it's really the ability, I think, to listen to what to the person that's telling you the issue or presenting their problem, and then having a conversation around, what options, do we have, and then work together to solve those issues. And it may be related to resourcing conflicts, and may be related to, money and budget, and it may be, related to timing and, just unexpected events. But at the end of the day, it's all about good communication and getting people to, really understand it's not a one-way street, but it's if we need to solve whatever issue we have, we're going to need to do it together. And part of my role really is to help lead others in pursuit of really just delivering on the medicines and all of our technical programming in support of the evidence generation for our submissions for our medicines. And a lot of times we get unexpected events or requests, which is normal, and, we just have to really, again, have a open mind and say that, folks are not, the intent is not to be, difficult. The intent is really, we have to, a goal in mind that we have to, adjust to, and that's fine. But we have to sort of buy in and realize we're going to work together. So that's sort of a snapshot of my day if I had to encapsulate it. But a lot of it is really around just making sure that we're dealing with either the set projects and things that we've had planned, but then also expect the unexpected and be able to have that conversation with those folks in regards to how do we get through it.
Oh, great. What are some of the things that you love most about your work, and what are some of the challenges that you find?
The things that I find rewarding, I would honestly say I think it really starts with the people. I mean, I love working with folks that honestly I think are probably smarter than me. It's a privilege to work with a lot of talented folks, sort of to your opening comments. That's why I've been in this industry and joined Amgen. But also I like that people recognize that we each probably have our own set of experience and expertise that we bring, either in the normal course of a work or if there's an emergency or a challenge. And people are generally very open to, listen and consider my opinions, which is always fascinating. So that's what I enjoy doing, really, at the end of the day, and that's why I come back to work at Amgen, is because I think it really starts with the team that I work with and the folks that I've met. The other thing I would say is the work is just fascinating. Just no day is really the same. Yeah, we do similar deliverables and regarding, we produce programs that then take the data that we collect in the clinical trials, then put it in a format that the regulators can understand and then review our, for evidence and safety of our products.
Right.
So that's fun, but no two products are ever the same, and so it's fascinating just to sort of see how how we have to adjust the evidence and the program that we need to do, because the regulations are changing very frequently. What the regulators and the government agencies want, so that's fascinating because it doesn't really get stale, I guess, in my opinion. So just the fluidity of the environment they're working is interesting. Probably one thing that I would say that's probably a little, that maybe is challenging for me at days is when you run into people that are having a bad day and they don't want to listen, or they don't want to have that conversation, or they dismiss maybe one of my team members' opinions or perspectives or mine. That's normal, and that can be frustrating, but I do try to take a step back and remind myself that they're probably under, stress as well, and I have to sort of try to put myself in their shoes. So at the end of the day, it's about just taking a moment, recognizing everyone is here with the right intent and not get caught up in the sort of the temporal issue or challenge that I may be having with an individual or a perspective. And those are probably the things that if they frustrate me, I just sort of take a moment and try to reflect on that. So I mean, really, but most days I enjoy what I do. So it's not much that I don't enjoy about working for Amgen.
That's great. How long have you been working at Amgen for?
About 13 years.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wow. That's great to hear. And
I've been with larger companies, Merck, Pfizer, and I really found like Amgen was the right fit for me. It's bigger, but not as big as, say, Pfizer, which is like 140,000 employees. Merck, I think, was 50,000 at the time when I was there. So when I came to Amgen, I thought that was tiny, but, I think Amgen's the right size. I think we're lean enough, but it allows us to, I think, for all individuals to really do everything that they can, because I don't think we're as overly built as, say, some of the larger companies that I'm familiar with.
Right. So in terms of next steps, what are you interested in the future for this field and for yourself?
Yeah, it's $1 million question. I generally think it's I think, like I said in some of my earlier comments, I think the industry is rapidly changing. So I do think for myself and for what I do, I mean, it's really sort of making sure that I'm challenging myself and the folks around me to always think about what might be, what is happening, and to adjust, because a lot of the things that we do today will likely get pressured to go faster, be more real time potentially even, and that's going to challenge us in regards to maybe our existing models. So I think, and I don't like to get bogged down with titles and roles, because again, I think those are just very temporal things that last for the time. So I think for the future, it's really around how do we sort of think about using more of the innovative things that are happening outside of our industry, like things like artificial intelligence, machine learning, those sorts of things, and even some of the ergonomic pieces, and that's a lot of my background from industrial engineering is around even just thinking back about the human problem around data collection. Like how do people live and work and want to engage with, say, what we do and at Amgen to try to bring medicines to market? We have to think through that whole problem, because at the end of the day, if I just think about programming is such a slotted thing. That's going to change, I think, if we think about how do we get data, how do people live, how do people want to engage in this industry to help the pursuit of what we do. I think that's where I think my organization will probably change in the coming years. We will probably need to be much more strategic in how we think about technologies in our area. And so those sorts of things are what's interesting to me, and I think as long as I remain flexible in terms of as things happen, or where I think things are going to go, that's sort of where I want to be, is really just trying to be ahead of that sort of change curve, because I know I've seen it in my 24-year career that nothing stays the same. So I think that's the one thing I would say. I can't really give you a good answer where I think I'm going to go, but I think it's going to be around really more integration around some of the innovative technology implications for the way we conduct clinical research.
That's really exciting. So in terms of advice for students who read your profile and think, wow, that's what I want to do, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I would tell them, don't be afraid to, go for the experience that they might actually fail at, but recognize that they have a lot of potential. And the simplest thing that I've learned that is probably the most impactful when thinking about your future or any role is just ask the basic questions. I had a mentor once tell me, Sometimes you're not going to be the smartest person in the room, and that's not why you're there. You're there because you're to help problem solve and to help, bring the best out of others. And a lot of times that starts with a question. And I think that was really impactful for me, is to say, think about the things that you're interested in. Are you a problem solver? Are you an analytic thinker? Are you highly technical? Do you like working with people? And then sort of gravitate towards those general traits, and then I think the position and the job will sort of follow suit, if that makes sense. Because I think if you get tied down with, I'll tell you, most of the roles I ever had that I've had in my career, or maybe even have in the future, were not jobs I thought about in college. And I would really sort of suggest to students that if you remain flexible and just go where your interest takes you, that's probably going to serve you well in terms of your career potential and opportunities going forward.
That's fantastic. I know that'll really resonate with our students. Jess, do you have anything else to add? Any questions so far for David?
I love everything that you've been saying, and I would love to hear a little more about what you were like as a student. Were you one of these? Were you a very diligent student? Were you somebody who loved to work with groups? Or, what were your kind of student qualities? Are they the same now? And maybe what things did you really take away from high school that have helped you, and which things do you wish you'd had when you were in high school?
Well, the honest answer, I guess, was I was very good. I was a very good student in high school, for sure. I think when I went to university, what I learned there, though, was, to be fair, I was very technical and could do that well. But what I really found in college, though, was really just the networking piece, quite honestly, that really helped me the most. And it was really learning how to work with others, because that was for the first time, I think, in my career or in my life, I had to work in a large project team where we basically had different roles. One was maybe a lead, one was the project manager, and one was, and I really enjoyed those aspects. And I think I know it sounds silly, but even the relationship pieces that you have outside of class and with your classmates really go a long way. So I was very social in college, and that really helped me. So I'd probably say that was at the expense of some of my academics for the early part of my university career. But near the end, I guess, when I started working at Merck, and I met very, very smart folks who I was very impressed with, and they were down to earth, and I just was very impressed. I definitely focused a lot more on academics. But again, I think the pieces, though, that were fundamental were I went into things that I was interested in. I wanted to be with people who were smarter than me, who would probably make me better. I probably didn't think about it at the time, but I just enjoyed being with folks who were very, very bright, but also equally social, because I think that sort of demonstrated to me that you need to be well-rounded, to be successful, quite honestly. And that was sort of how I was in terms of before my professional career. And that's, again, how I got, I think, the recommendation from a classmate who I didn't even know recommended me for a position. She was a classmate of mine in one of my engineering disciplines and our classes, and that's really what led me to get that opportunity that sort of changed my career path.
I really love that, and I think it's so important. I love hearing that honest kind of assessment of, sometimes the social, chatty person who wants to get to know the people that they're with in class doesn't always see that that can be an asset to them in this field. And so I think it really helps to hear of it, that, yes, you need to focus on your academics, but that social piece really helps you too. So I think that's really, really helpful insight for high school students particularly, who may think they're not cut out, for kind of the stereotypical bioscience career pathway.
Right.
I think that's it for me. Annie, was there anything else?
No, and actually, excuse me, sorry, David, I am like, I have a bad cough today. You did send along your answers ahead of time, which we really appreciate, and this interview was a great compliment to those, and I think we've covered everything.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, and I'm more than willing to do any follow up if you'd like. This was it's fascinating for me just to sort of think back to how I got here. So I really enjoyed the chance and sort of be nostalgic, I guess.
The walk down memory lane. So what we'll do is, just so you know next steps, what we're going to be doing is putting this together into a profile. So when we do that, we'll share it back with you, just so you have a chance to kind of see what we took notes on and take out anything you don't want us to put in there. And, just kind of give it your eye, and you can certainly add or suggest changes to things that are there. And then what we'll do after that is just let you know, we're hoping to use these profiles in maybe a number of different ways. So what we'll do is let you know where we would envision using this profile, whether it's on a website or we might have some classroom resources that we're developing as well. So we'll let you know what those are so you know where you might turn up and you can look for yourself when you're out in the public eye there. So we appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
Great. Thank you, David. It was great to meet you.
All right. Have a good day. I hope you feel better.
Oh, thank you so much. Bye. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Bye.
All right.